this is Greg Kelly. Donate now to Toys for Tots, which works year-round. Go to toysfortots.org. Toys for Tots supports children in need throughout the year with programs like the Toys for Tots Literacy Program. Established in 2008, it has provided over 63 million books to disadvantaged children. The Toys for Tots Literacy Program is committed to providing disadvantaged children with direct access to books and educational resources that enhance their ability to read and communicate effectively. Go to toysfortots.org.
Listen, all you New Yorkers. Taxi. Okay,
This is the 77 WABC minicast.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, New York, and happy Easter to all of us. Today's a very holy day for us Catholics, and we want to wish everyone a very happy and healthy Easter. Today we're going to have some very interesting topics. We're going to speak about the TSA, what happened with these agents during a period that they did not get paid, probably 8 weeks or more. We'd like to speak about what happened, why it happened, and what could have prevented it, and what these agents had to live with. So today we have with us Xabe Izquierdo, who's the Executive Vice President of Local 222 that represents the TSA agents, as well as Carlos Rodriguez, Region 1 Vice President, TSA, 100 Local and National. So today is going to be very interesting because we're going to have a great conversation with them. And welcome, Carlos. Welcome, Xabe.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. And first of all, happy Easter, right?
Happy Easter to everyone, yeah. Guys, let me ask you, it was probably 7 or 8 weeks that all of these TSA agents did not get a paycheck, okay? You represent them. You are the union. You are the vice presidents. And I want to thank you for being here because people need to know what happened to the lives of these men and women that keep our country safe. We all know who TSA agents are, those of us that travel. They're the ones that make sure that your luggage is checked, make sure that you get through the lines quickly and safely. They're the ones that keep America safe. They're the ones that are at the airports earning almost minimum wage. I really don't even know how these guys can pay their bills, but needless to say, they play a crucial role in America and how we get around and how we keep terrorism out of the airports. So, I'd like to ask you, I'll start with you, Xabe. Xabe, what, you're a TSA agent as well.
Correct.
Okay. What was going through your minds? What was happening to you guys on a day to day, week to week, waiting to get paid? And how did you pay your rent? How did you pay your car insurance? How did you buy food? How did you manage when most of these agents live week to week?
Well, me personally, I have a good security mechanism, savings, made sure. I've been with the agency over 23 years. I committed myself to this agency and protecting the flying community. The concern is a lot of my colleagues are new to the agency. A lot of my colleagues struggled. When we hear all the stories, not only locally, because our local represents all TSA offices between New York and New Jersey, but even across the country, our employees couldn't pay their mortgages, couldn't pay their rent, couldn't pay their car payments. We've had employees still struggling from the previous shutdown between October and November. So when you look at this situation, the stress is pressurizing our screening operation in concerns in how our employees perform their jobs on a day-to-day basis.
But they performed their jobs.
Absolutely.
You know, they were there,
Correct.
regardless to whether they were getting paid or not. They showed
Correct.
up to work every day.
Correct.
That's leadership.
Absolutely.
That's leadership. I mean, you guys have a good leadership in your organization.
Correct.
And, you know, we want to thank every TSA agent for showing up to work, knowing that they weren't getting paid. Carlos, as far as you're concerned, what was your take from what happened?
Well, Mateo, the fact that the shutdown is become recurrent already made it so that we as an institution, the union, right, in my end, being a regional vice president for Council 100, we had meetings, we had strategic meetings. We already know what needed to be done for them. We already had connections with the food pantries, which we provided for. We already have funds from the union allocated to provide relief if needed. And most important, the local organizing. It is important to stress out that primarily what held us together was the community, our communities outside of the airport, and the community that we have been able to create through the union inside of the airport.
Right.
We were cooking for each other. We were carpooling. We were
food events.
So you guys came together.
Correct.
I know that there was a large institution, Key Food, that came, and they donated some 2,000 $50 food certificates, gift certificates that you could shop at any Key Food. Although that's a drop in the bucket, we had a chain of stores of Food Emporium and Key Foods owned by Richie Almonte, where he extended a line of credit to all of the TSA agents up to $150 a week recurring. In other words, there was no ending to that, right? So I know that the community felt for you, felt for your men and women, and they came through. But still, what happens with the landlords? You got to pay rent. Yeah. They're not going to forgive you because they've got to pay a mortgage, right? What happens with gasoline? They've got to get to and from work. I know that you do some carpooling, but how much carpooling can you really do, right? So all of these things that these agents went through, was very difficult. Okay. In your eyes, who do you hold responsible for this action to defund the people that keep our country safe, the TSA agents?
So this problem has existed for a really long time. And it goes back to the fact that when President Bush created the agency, it was supposed to be a temporary measure after 9/11. Me and Chabé have been in the security business. I was affected by 9/11, so that's the main reason as a New Yorker that I joined TSA. And the problems haven't been corrected. The congressional act that created TSA is called the ATSA. And in there, instead of like the TSA being created like other federal agencies through a congressional act, we were created by mandate decree. And that has made it where our pay system, we get paid on the SV scale, is completely different from the other agencies. We are part of DHS, but we don't get paid like other DHS officers get paid. So it's a perfect storm of a lot of situations that are complicated where one single person or party is not completely at fault.
But what can the union do to fix this? What can the union do to make this part of the federal system, although you're federal agents, right? But you're saying that you get paid separately because it's a different agreement that I guess the feds have with the TSA. Why doesn't your union fight to make it part of what the entire umbrella is for the federal government and Department of Homeland Security?
That's a great question. Chabé might tell you that we've been fighting over and have bills in Congress that have been trying to push bills by the Senate for the last 10 years. Chabé will give you more details as to who are those people.
Thank you, Mr. Mateo. The concern is this. Our employees put their lives on the line every day.
We know that.
For 23 years, the plane hasn't gone down under our watch. The concern, though, our biggest supporters, Congressman Benny Thompson from Mississippi, Senator Brian Schatz, have introduced legislation every Congress to convert TSA to a Title V agency, like a lot of other agencies, CBP, Bureau of Prisons, Department of Defense. That actual congressional movement and senatorial movement has not crossed the line yet.
But let me ask you, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but why? Why is the question? How many agents do you guys represent nationwide? How many TSA agents are there nationwide?
About 44,000 TSA employees.
44,000 men and women. These men and women can't go to their senators, their congressmen, and and basically protest and let them know that this is unacceptable.
Mr. Mateo, they have.
So. Okay, do you give special priority to congressmen and senators going through the airports?
Well, we particularly know. As TSOs, we have no sway.
Correct.
The agency is the one that decides what those privileges and those perks are. And at the end, it's a tale of two cities, right? You have the hardworking officers who are part of the bargaining unit, which we represent. And then you have TSA executives, which are political appointees. So every time that a government changes, the political appointees change. But the career TSOs, those men and women that bravely left agencies like NYPD, the ones that are part of the military while serving in the military, serve TSA. We are the ones that actually hold the agency together.
Yeah,
with
but
our job being, like Chavez said, to look for bombs and protect the American public. But the politicians in both sides have failed us. And now, Fernando, the problem is that there's always been a lurking threat of companies that want to privatize and take us back to the old model that failed us in 9/11 by putting underqualified, underpaid, and
Well, you're underpaid to begin with, so they can't underpay them anymore.
Yes, they can, actually.
Private security would be a growing concern across the country. Let's not forget the most horrific and terrorist attack ever committed on American soil was 9/11. Who was at the airports? Private security, sir. So, Mr. Fernando, we're hopeful we could use this forum, sir, and reach out to those decision makers to say, finally, it's time to put TSA on the GS pay scale system to convert this agency to a Title V agency.
Listen, there's a way of getting this done. Okay, back in 1998, we formed the New York State Federation of Taxi Drivers. These were men and women that were getting killed 50 and 60 a year. And we stopped that. We stopped it because we united and we had a plan. You know, you guys are hardworking TSA workers yourself. You're union leaders. You know, it's about organizing and delivering a blow to your congressmen and your senators and letting them know that this is unacceptable. First of all, for them to stop paying you while they're getting paid is a mortal sin. Okay? I mean, every congressman, every senator got paid while you guys that are keeping America safe are not getting paid. That should never happen. I mean, at this point, you had the president that had to intervene when he saw that there was nothing was going to stop this from continuing, and signed an executive order to get you guys paid. Have you gotten paid? After the president signed the executive order, did you get paid? Have you gotten paid?
Yes, yeah. we got them paid.
You're paid.
But today, hold on, Mr. Mateo, but today is day 51 of the shutdown. The shutdown continues, sir.
The shutdown continues, but you're getting paid.
Okay, but the shutdown continues.
And that needs to stop. I mean, that's something that's totally unacceptable. And every congressman, every senator that's listening to this show here on WABC, the most listened to radio station in the nation, should know that we're calling them out. We're calling them out because they need to resolve this issue. I don't like getting to the airport and having to wait 2 or 3 hours, okay, to get through the lines. And thank God, I'll tell you one thing. The ICE agents that are there lending a hand, they're doing a damn good job, okay? And I'll tell you, a lot of people have tried to instill fear in immigrants not to go because ICE is there. You know what? ICE is doing what the TSA is asking them to do. And they're following the rules, the regulations, and nobody is being detained at the airport. So all those people that are trying to instill fear into others not to travel, they're lying. TSA agents and the ICE agents are doing a great job together, and I want to commend the ICE agents for being so professional at the airports. And I've spoken to a lot of TSA agents, and I've asked them, how do they feel about ICE? And they love them. They love the fact that they're lending a hand and relieving the TSA agents from having to do so much work.
So a lot of people are under the impression that ICE was created recently. There's been a lot of the ICE agents are ex-TSA employees. We're all part of DHS. We're all federal employees who swore an oath to the Constitution and to the American people of protecting them. And yeah, we are glad for the help. It's a little bit complicated, the fact that I'm working side by side with somebody who's getting paid and who's receiving bonuses when I'm not getting paid.
Well,
that is not their fault.
Listen,
and I understand that. And I understand also, for example, when we have done events at the airport, we feed them. They sit side by side with us in the break room. We share our water. We share our food with them because it's not their fault. They're being sent to do a job and they're doing their job, and they're having them there has relieved some of the tension.
Listen,
but the reality is,
I'm sorry to interrupt you, really, because Right now we have to go to commercial breaks. And so we will come back with Carlos and Chavez so that we can continue this conversation in another few minutes. Then we're going to move on to other topics that are just as important. Well, good evening once again, this Easter Sunday. Happy Easter to everyone. If you've just tuned in to No Excuses, I want you to know that we have two of the union representatives here, vice presidents for the TSA workers at all of our local airports here and nationally. And we're here speaking about the hardship that the TSA agents had to go through and are going through for about approximately 8 weeks now. We're speaking about all of the things that were done, that could have been done, and that aren't done, that are keeping them without a contract at this moment, right? So, Chavez, getting back to you, what is it what's the dream of a TSA agent at this point? Well,
the dream?
Yeah, if they could speak to Congress and they could go and testify, which, believe me, I don't understand why they don't have congressional hearings with TSA agents talking to them, okay, and telling them the hardship that they put them through.
The American, I would say the TSA dream is to finally get our employees on Title V. Finally convert this agency to a Title V agency so we'll be treated with the same entitlements, benefits, pay scale system as the other federal agencies.
You're telling me that you don't have benefits?
We do have benefits, Mr. Mateo, but not the same as Title V agencies. We're not under the same pay scale system.
So you're treated like a stepchild.
Well, I don't want to say a stepchild. We do have leadership, and going back to your point, the leadership we have is TSA Council 100. Carlos is a representative on TSA Council 100. Our leader, our president, he's also our local president. His name is Hydrick Thomas. He's a leader. They've had actual meetings year after year in the push to get us under Title V. So we don't want the public to think that our union is not pushing the envelope, because we've been pushing it for a long time. But even in your successes and failures, because life has successes and failures, we're not always going to be successful. But it's the drive and the dream that we continue to follow to get to that success.
You see, with me, it's about not having an excuse, okay? No Excuses is the name of my show, of my radio show, and it's only because I don't accept excuses as a reason for not achieving certain things. Carlos, what do you?
So in our end, you're a man of industry too, and the reality is that right now we're waging a war in between the how things get done and what gets done. So we have private industries that will be very glad and are spending a lot of money trying to say that we are a failed agency when we're not. We're the only government agency that has 100% success rate. No plane has fallen out of U.S. skies under our watch. And the cost to the American public of having trained people like me and Chavez, who for over 20-something years have been working at the airports, the wealth of experience that we have. There's cases that have been documented where private security companies in places like Vegas hire the TSOs and pay them bonuses to poach them from TSA because they see the value of having a workforce that is non-drug using. You're not allowed to owe money to be at TSA, who has passed federal background checks yearly, who constantly gets tested. We're the best of the world at what we do.
Do the TSA agents pay dues to the union?
Yes.
You do. Okay. Why don't you guys use some of those funds to call out the people responsible for you not having this Section 5 that you believe you should have? I mean, I always hear the transportation president union talking about, hey, we are not getting this and therefore you should do this. Why don't you use those funds to mobilize, do commercials, write scripts, and basically call out the people responsible for your agents not getting what they need? Listen, you can't switch it off from TSA agents to private security. It can't happen that way anymore. You are part of the federal system now. That's what we got used to. That's what Americans got used to. But I think you need to spend more money you need to spend money because you haven't spent any money. You must have a lot of funds in your coffers, right?
Well, so I want to say, first we want to really thank you for the support. We agree with you 100%. But being realistic, you have to understand that a private corporation union and a federal workers union, as federal employees, we swear oaths and we have like other levels of clearance and security. We're very, we're tied in a lot of things about how, because we don't want to give our adversaries, we don't want to give terrorists information that they shouldn't have. They shouldn't be privy. There's a certain level of secrecy to what happens in the country. And and furthermore, we also are pioneers. We have tried throughout, we might switch our approach. I'm not saying you're not. You are joining a part of a big movement.
No excuses.
There you go. No excuses. So I might bring that back and we might start changing our approach. But thus far, what we have tried has been to build together with the government, with the TSA administrators.
It's not working.
And with both parties.
It's not working.
And that's why we switch our approach.
You haven't gotten paid in 8 weeks. It's not working. You know, it's like, hey, if you can't get it this way, find another way to get it. But you've got to get your men and women what they need in order for this not to happen again. For this, you know, we were speaking earlier. You said that, hey, the president signed an executive order, right? He signed an executive order, so you're getting paid now. But guess what? Later on, the next guy may not sign that executive order, and you may not get paid, right? So we need to fix this, okay? And I believe that the union could play a huge role in this, you know, because your federal employees doesn't mean that you can't fight for your rights. Right now, you have no rights. You're not getting paid.
Mr. Mateo, thank you. But for a long time, when TSA was first implemented, at our inception, we didn't have a union. And it's because of our men and women who fought President Hydrick Thomas to get us a union. Everything doesn't happen right away, sir. This is a game and a system we have to work within. The decision makers, our union is American Federation of Government Employees. They have our back. They're not accepting excuses. They're out there lobbying for us, sir. So don't think
you
it's not happening.
Gotten paid
sir,
in 8 weeks.
Sir,
that's the bottom line.
With all due respect, sir, we don't control the decision makers, do we?
You can.
You can. How?
By basically spending money and calling them out.
You do.
Yes.
You do.
I haven't heard one commercial. I haven't heard one outcry. You know what? It's like the TSA agents and you're TSA agents yourself. My heart bleeds for you. You know why? Because you're good people. You're hardworking people. You show up to work every day. You're dedicated. You kept the airports open.
We still are.
Some of them had to quit because they need to make a living. Okay, and we understand that. But most of you, stood in the battlefield and you're still there. Okay, and thanks to President Trump, you're getting paid. But we need to fix this. Having said that, guys, I think we're running a little bit out of time. I want to thank you for coming here. I want you to know that WABC Radio, my show, No Excuses, stand behind the TSA agents. We stand behind the actions that the President of the United States did by signing off and getting you paid. But we must hold those congressmen and senators responsible for this disaster. Okay? This is a calamity. This should have never happened. And thank you, TSA agents, for being there and for hanging in there for all of us. I want to thank you guys very much for showing up.
And our union is fighting for us.
Oh, absolutely.
Our union continues to fight for us, Mr. Mateo. Believe that. They're not going to stop. Me and Carlos are representatives for the union. We're fighting for our employees.
You are, and that's why you're here.
That's why we're here.
That's why you're here,
That's why we're here.
Okay, and I didn't
invite us back.
And I didn't have to pull too hard to get you here.
No, you did not.
Yeah.
You
invite us back.
Whenever they'll listen, we'll talk.
Well, listen, we will invite you back. We'll have you back.
Absolutely.
Hopefully, we're going to all push to get you that Section 5.
Title 5.
Title 5, right? Title 5 for TSA members, for the union and for its members. God bless you. Thank you for being here, and happy Easter, okay?
Happy Easter.
I know you left your families to come here and spend some time with us.
For you and your family.
And
you as well.
And coming up now, we're going to speak about another industry that's really suffering, okay? It's like today's about the suffering industries. cab drivers, okay? The high price of gas and who is paying for it. Ultimately, who is paying for the high, the high prices of gas? Yes.
Listen to this podcast now
On the Red Apple Podcast Network. The Leadership Thread with Dr. Peggy Polonis.
I'm Dr. Peggy Polonis. Join me on each episode where I unravel the story that shaped leaders, tracing the thread that led them where they are today. Because leadership isn't born in adulthood. And thank you once again for joining us on the Leadership Thread, education, ethics, and sustainability.
Download all of Red Apple Media's podcasts right now through your favorite podcast platform.